A lot of people are focused on the what. What have I built?
Yes.
What do I feel good about? And what can I look good with?
Right.
Not a lot of people focus on like the why.
Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes.
Nelson, thank you so much for joining me.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So how's the Insurtech New York been for you so far?
It's great. Had a good crowd on both days and see a lot of old and new friends.
That's awesome. Yeah, the networking here is amazing. And if you've been in the industry for any amount of time, reconnecting with all these folks is just awesome, right?
It's always nice to be back in New York City.
Yeah, awesome. So Nelson, one of the things that occurs to me, especially when I was thinking about, our discussion, there's an incredible amount of innovation that we see on the P&C, on the property and casualty side. But we don't see a lot of innovation in on the life side. I mean, I think I spent 6 years on the life side. I think about like the best innovation I've seen is really kind of more on the application side and, the NIGO, IGO type of, drama, just application and that type of thing. But what are you seeing, given your focus in that area, what are you seeing from an innovative perspective?
Yeah, I think, and even insurance as a whole, including PNC, is probably behind on overall innovation compared to, say, banking, payments, or fintech as a whole, right?
Sure.
And within that insurtech sector, life and annuity lags behind PNC.
Yep.
Kind of like maybe by 10-year intervals.
Sure.
I think a lot of it has to do with infrastructure. Okay. Obviously, I'm biased because my company, Infras, we built API infrastructure for insurance companies. But in order to innovate, you need infrastructure. There's two kinds. One is technical infrastructure. You need to have the literal technology to support innovation, but second, you need to have the culture.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of resistance to change. But as people realize, if they get into more outcome-based thinking, then we stop thinking about a lot of the more modular goals that only allow us to make very incremental progress over long periods of time. For example, IGO, NIGO.
Right.
That's fine, but it's 2025, it shouldn't really be a thing, right?
Sure.
For example, NIGO only should be even theoretically possible if we don't really have logic that is widely applicable anywhere. Because if you apply with an insurance company, they have a set of logic. And if you don't match that logic, you shouldn't even be able to submit the application, period.
Exactly right.
And so the fact that we're going from paper to digital paper, but still dealing with NIGO, and trying to go, I guess NIGO is still an advertising term, that just means we all have so much more to build.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I love, what you made a comment that just blew me away here for a second, where we've got to have this shift to this more outcomes-based thinking that allows for a more modular approach. Did I capture that right? Clean me up if I got it wrong, because I want to explore that a little bit more.
I think both yes and no.
Okay.
Definitely we want to be outcome based.
Yeah.
But we do want to break down outcomes into maybe smaller pieces and problems. But in the past, people have been thinking of solutions in such modular point solutions that they try to reduce NIGO. And maybe we go from 10 to 5 to 3%, but then maybe the bigger outcome question is, why are NIGOs even a thing?
Exactly.
Why is there any amount of NIGO?
Right. I love that. That outcomes focused piece is important. You said something, and I'm also too very curious about your firm and the API work that you do. Another thing for me that has been holding life and annuities behind is really a lot of the mainframe oriented architectures that are just so hard to get off of, right? I mean, you've got these long tail contracts that migrating that data is not easy. PNC side annual, right? We'll renew on a new system if we want to. What do you see in the future to solve that problem? It feels like a really big issue for life.
Yes. I think more than any technology per se, obviously I love API because that's what we do, but more than anything we do, particularly it's a mentality.
Yeah.
If you look at the other also heavily regulated financial industries that are way ahead of us on innovation, like payments, like banking, there's Stripe in payments, there's Plaid in banking. They have a mentality where they used to also have IBM mainframes too.
Yeah.
There was no shortage of those.
Right.
But they really moved quickly from, okay, we went from mainframes to APIs and the APIs to API abstraction. Because the first step is going from mainframe to cloud and then cloud to many APIs. But then the next step is going from many APIs to very few APIs.
Sure.
It's reduction. You want to abstract away complexity so it's simple.
Got it.
I think we are still in the I finally have many APIs and I'm very excited about it phase.
Right.
And then when you insert newer technologies such as abstraction, so people can more easily do business with each other instead of me learning the 1,000 APIs you have, you learning the 3,000 APIs I have. Abstraction sometimes is met with not technology struggle, but mentality challenge in that when you are so focused on being proud of your 1,000 APIs, it's really hard to tell you then, hey, 1,000 APIs is great, but let's reduce all that to like 3.
Right.
And then the industry goes back and forth. Well, I should keep building because I built these 1,000. It's great. And I have my process. I'm really proud of my process. And then we get so granular, we forgot about the goal. Why did we have any number of APIs to begin with?
Yeah. I love it. And so it goes back to, it's all thinking. It's a mental model. It's how you approach architecture that needs to continue evolving.
Architecture is just an expression of thinking.
Right.
So is code.
Yes.
Code is an expression of the relationship between objects, of which objects in our mind are thoughts.
Right.
And a lot of people are focused on the what. What have I built?
Yes.
What do I feel good about? And what can I look good with?
Right.
Not a lot of people focus on like the why.
Yeah.
Obviously, some companies focus on that more than others, and they innovate a lot faster. It's like, why did we do what we did?
Yeah.
And does the why still apply? And what about the why should we do this 10 years from now? And then we figure out the how later.
Yeah.
But the traditional way that stops us from innovation is like, how have we done it? And how do we replicate how we've done it?
Exactly.
But by definition, if you replicate how you did it, you are replicating what you did.
And you're not innovating. That's right. Yeah.
Which is how we came up with digital paper.
Right. Right. That's fascinating. I love it. Sounds like a little Simon Sinek in there around that's, starting with the why, golden circles. That's kind of interesting.
I'll give you an example on digital paper, like handoff.
Yep.
Handoff is a popular term in insurance. Like, when do we do the handoff?
Right.
Well, what does that even mean? If you think about it, handoff is not natively digital, because back in the pre-digital, pre-screen world, when we were truly paper, like tree paper based, I wrote something on my piece of paper. You wouldn't see what I wrote before I was finished writing.
Right.
When I finally finished on writing, you take a look and then you write your stuff. And when you're writing, I don't see it. So we have 2 handoffs. And then what people did was, I don't like paper because paper is no bueno.
Right.
So let's make digital paper. And
So-
now we have a handoff on the screen. Nobody's actually like, why are we having handoffs, period?
Right.
Are we truly just trying to, I guess like counting less trees is good,
Right.
but why are we replicating this process
Sure.
on a screen?
Let's think about it, maybe this process synchronously
Yeah.
instead.
What are we trying to accomplish
Right.
with the piece of paper anyway?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. Take it back to that level. That's awesome. Now, I mean, I can't help but think that there is an incredible use case for AI to come in and help with these model changes, these mental model changes. Am I on the right track?
I think potentially.
Yeah.
I say potentially because AI, like a lot of things, is garbage in, garbage out.
Sure.
There's 2 kinds of things you can feed it. One is question, which people can describe them as prompts or tokens, right, in API world. The second is data.
Yep.
So let's talk about them both. If the data is bad, even if you ask a good question, the answer will be bad. Unreliable, inaccurate, hallucination, all the bunch. If the question is bad, well, you're not going to get a quality answer even if the data is good. So both have to be of quality.
Yeah.
So I think there's a humongous amount of potential, but we need to spend more time around AI readiness. How do we feed it the right questions and ensure it has good data to give us the right answers? But at the end of the day, if we have good questions and good data in a perfect world, then what AI does really well, regardless of insurance, is it answers questions a lot more quickly at scale than humans.
Yes.
It's not yet very great at asking questions.
Right.
So our main output stops being answering stuff. our main output as intelligent beings goes from answers to like, how do I ask the right question?
Yeah.
How do I break down one complex question into 10 sensible questions? And not a lot of people have adopted to that. They're still adopting to the workflow where my boss told me to do something, a question or prompt, and I do it, the answer.
Right.
If that's still the workflow mentally, then AI is not going to be super transformational.
Yeah, I'm with you. That is fascinating. And as you're describing that, Nelson, I'm actually thinking about my own journey in AI. And you're exactly right. It's all about how to distill down this question to a point where you're really answering a why type of question. I love that thought process. There's so much strength in there. Nelson, give me an opportunity to learn a little bit about your firm and what it is that you do, and talk a little bit about APIs. And I'm very curious, especially since you have a life focus, right?
So we do life, annuity, group, dental, disability, long-term care, really a whole bunch of stuff in the life, annuity, and health space in general.
Got it. And so part of what I'm kind of interested in is, as you take me through that thought process, why is it so specifically centered in that space? And is it transferable to PNC? If not, why? That type of thing.
Yeah, we got started in the life, health, and annuity space just because it's by far lagging the most.
Okay.
In innovation compared to other, verticals or adjacent verticals like PNC or other financial services. But I would say the technology we do is widely applicable to a range of financial service use cases. So what we do specifically is actually quite simple from a value prop perspective. We have an API infrastructure that helps carriers go headless. It's a fancy engineering technical term, but all it really means is you can do business with any third party in any third party interface, and you are not captive to any interface of your own. So the best example is like I mentioned Stripe.
Yep.
Stripe helps you take Visa payment in any interface. You go to McDonald's, you go to Walmart, you go to Amazon, Stripe is taking that payment, but you never go to stripe.com or visa.com.
Right.
That's headless. Banking went headless when Plaid built the infrastructure and then Venmo allowed us to send $20 to each other.
Yep.
I don't actually need to know what bank you bank with, but pre-Venmo I did.
Yeah.
I need to either write you a check or log into my online banking, and then you log into your online banking, and then we've all wasted 20 minutes of our life or never get back.
Right.
There is really no such reusable infrastructure in especially life, health, and annuity. And the question I saw a lot of people ask is, what is the best experience? And then I found that to be really silly because that depends who you ask. So like, what's the best experience for life or group dental or individual disability? And do we pick this vendor, that vendor? Do I do homegrown? And I think answer is none of the above. The world will not agree on one singular experience because people have unique businesses, people are unique individuals, and you business and personal use cases. So you shouldn't have to pick a winner. If you have to pick a winner, then your distribution channel is super narrow.
Sure.
You should be so widely applicable in a headless way that as long as you and I can do good business, I don't care if your interface is green, blue, yellow, and you have 3 drop-down menus or 1.
Right.
I'm a financial services company. I care about good financial distribution and good risk.
Got it. I love that.
It's like Visa. Visa doesn't care if I sell my pair of shoes on a blue website or a green website.
Yeah, just hook up here.
Hook up and I'll process your payments.
That's right.
I'm not in the business of managing interface.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Let me wrap up with this question, Nelson. So as you look into your crystal ball, given all
I wish I had one.
Yeah, right. That's the first thing, right? First I need a crystal ball. But as you look into your proverbial crystal ball, what do you see coming down the pike? What's the next step? I know we're always kind of thinking about roadmaps. What do you have in your mind kind of as the next step?
For the industry or for my company?
Well, let's do both, but let's start with the industry.
I think the industry is going to go through the classic adoption curve.
Yeah.
First, very skeptical. AI won't do a thing.
Yeah.
And then the epiphany. AI will change everything and nobody will have jobs. Software engineers will cease to exist as a profession. And then boom, valley of despair. Oh no, it didn't do anything for us. And then you get into like this equilibrium state where, hey, it can do a lot of very sensible things about us if we're thoughtful about it. So I think we're just about going towards epiphany.
Yeah, love that. That's awesome. And how about for your company?
What I want to do is avoid that roller coaster because we're in the midst of it.
Sure.
And we want to help people adopt AI and be AI ready in a sensible way, because as we help carriers do business in a headless way, there is going to be some AI use cases, and a lot of it is not going to be powered by a solution I develop.
Yeah.
There's going to be third-party models like OpenAI, Anthropic. So I think helping carriers build the infrastructure so they can tackle things in a way where they make sensible expectations about what they do and do not want to get out of it.
Got it.
That'll be our job.
That's awesome. That's great. Awesome. Nelson, thank you so much for the time. And also too, congratulations, by the way, on tackling the hardest part of the industry first.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're there. But thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.